So I don't do biological assessments, biological testing, not because I don't think it's valuable, but because I don't exactly know what to do with the results. So oftentimes it's really expensive, and oftentimes the recommendations are to add some inoculants or things of that nature. Try to balance some of the types of microbes that are in the soil, which can be difficult because many of them you can't buy. So what I tell people is to use an inoculant as basically an insurance policy to make sure you've got them there, but not necessarily to get it tested unless you suspect something's wrong. However, if you need to get to that level of detail on a biological assay, it tends to be extremely expensive. Like a microbial inoculant would be oftentimes, almost always, a powdered, a dried living microbe. So you got bacteria, you got fungi, some have some other things that not just bacteria and fungi, and they often have some nutrition to keep those bacteria and fungi alive. And generally you have to, when you spread them generally by mixing with water and then spraying them, they are, since they're living but basically dormant, you have a limited amount of time after you get them wet, but they have a whole bunch of strains of beneficial bacteria and fungi in them, which then colonize the roots. And the easiest one to use is called Complete. It has like 5 different products all mixed in one for the home gardener. They have other ones that are specifically designed for spring soil, like wake up inoculants, so it's called Soil Infusion. There's one specifically tied to encouraging the growth phases of plants. That would be Growth Plus. So there are like hundreds of manufacturers of these things. Most of them are good, but most of them I've never used. So I can't tell you what's good and what isn't. Try it. Oftentimes you can try them, see if you get a response, see if you don't. I do like to use a couple different ones to make sure that I've got different species and more diversity. One of the keys to soil health is diversity. So diversity in mineral sources, diversity in microbes. It's all helpful. So there are now companies that are putting it right into their fertilizers. Especially, there's a Organic Approach is putting them in every one of their like standard organic fertilizers now.
Does it come in liquid or is it dry?
Almost always dry because they're living, mm-hmm. And so if they were wet, they'd be dead.
Yeah. Nice.
So they're almost always dry, and basically dormant.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put it in a compost tea, blend it up real well, and use it within 4 hours. That's generally the recommended
oh yeah, you
rule.
gotta get this stuff out fast.
Exactly. So, but that'd be a great way, because that way, rather than trying to make compost tea that's got a lot of bacteria or fungi in it, which is difficult, you could just add the fungi at the end and spray it out there. Might be your easiest option.